What up, my peoples? Okay, so I want to talk about a cat that I actually met. Uh, Speaking of Toronto rap, so let me rewind back. And I was actually at this event, right? I'll link the video. I was at this artist showcase thing back in like 2017, right? And it didn't realize it was like some music shit or whatever. It was like in a little house or something like that. And this indigenous cat comes up, and he's, I guess, about to perform, or he has the microphone or whatever, right? So he comes up and he's like, "What up, my natives?" Yo, I almost thought this dude was gonna call me a nigga. Like, I was expecting him, like, when he was like, "What up, my?" I was like, "Oh my god, this guy can call me a nigga." Like, like, you have to understand, this is a room full of black people, right? So, like, most of the people in there were black, right? I mean, it was our showcase type of thing. So here in Toronto, and this dude comes up and is like, "What up, my natives?" And I was like, I was crying. I thought that shit was hilarious. And so he's like, I go by the name of QRock, and I'm gonna perform a record or something like that. So, anyways, so he performs the record. He starts rhyming. This goes stands for my natives in the back. I was gone. Like, I was just like, yo, this is the illest shit I've heard from anybody in like 5 years type shit. You know what I mean? Like, it's not everything that you hear like an indigenous cat rap and that he's actually dope and shit. Like, and he was spitting shit. Like, he was really spitting some shit. So, so I go to the guy and I'm like, afterward, right? I'm like, yo, we gotta talk, we gotta link, blah blah. I got his number. We never ended up, linking, artist shit, whatever. But, QRock, shout out to QRock if he ever sees this. But, that's a good dude, man. I mean, he was cool with me at least, and really talented cat, man. I remember just like the way he rapped, and again, I'll link the video, but it was just like, what the fuck? And that's the beauty of this hip hop shit. I remember I made this video about how, like, if you're not black, I don't really care about your hip hop opinion. And as I said in that video, and it's facts, I feel that way. But like I said, there are always notable exceptions to that's why you can't say that this is a rule that applies to everybody. Most people who are not black don't really understand hip hop. But of course there are exceptions, right? And there's white people that get it. There's indigenous folk that get it, right? Like, I mean, hip hop is a worldwide phenomenon. So of course there's people that get it and they feel it. And again, when I look at someone like QRock, QRock, like, I never got the vibe that he was trying to vulture hip hop ever. Like, you know what I'm saying? That's not the vibe I got from him. Like, this is a room full of brothers and sisters, and he rocked that shit. And he did it respectfully, and you know what I'm saying, and was just ill with it, and that's what you kind of need to do. Like, so yeah, you could be dope at this hip hop shit, man, and I always love seeing that. I mean, that's the thing that's great about this music. Like, it's great when you see somebody take a genre that was started by black folk. I mean, I'm not black American, like, you know what I'm saying. I'm sure that, like, somebody could be like, you're not from New York, blah, blah, so you can't even listen to hip hop. Or you're not from the Bronx. But you know what I'm saying? Like, hip hop doesn't really put boundaries, and that's the beauty of it. But at the same time, as long as you respect where it comes from and you respect the people that put it down and you are open to innovation, like, anybody can participate. You know what I mean? So, yeah, QRock, man, if you, check out his stuff, he's got a lot of, decent songs. I think for me, and again, Q, I just got to keep it 100. But my thing with Q was I never really liked the beats he rapped on. I thought that he needed better beats, honestly, and that was the one thing, because it sucks when somebody has so much rapping talent or has quite a bit, and you're just like, the beats ain't really hitting, you know what I mean? Because I've always said it, man, like, I love lyrics, but hip hop is a beat driven genre. Like, if you get the right beat, like, it can really take your rhymes to another place. So I never quite liked the beats, and I think to a certain degree, his rhyme style, obviously it's more of the old school type of, flow. And the old school shit is ill as fuck, right? It kind of reminds me, I remember telling him right up front, because it reminded me of some like Cool Keith meets showbiz and AG, AG type shit. And that was what I thought was really funny, because when he was rapping, it was just kind of like, yo, this indigenous cat from Toronto's rapping like this? What the fuck? And then it turns out that he's actually from the Bronx, right? So it's like, of course. Of course, New York, like, you know what I mean? Like, again, like I was saying, like, NY makes the hottest shit. They always have. They invented it. So, like, if you can't go far in hip hop without respecting NY and understanding NY. It is what it is. You know what I mean? So my thing with Q was that I found that his flow sometimes was like not exactly what the beat needed. I mean, he's very talented, but it's almost like he was freestyling the joints every time that he was like, you know, and every time he's rapping. And that's a Bronx thing, I think. I want to say that's a Bronx type of thing. Like, again, that Kool Keith sort of like, here's a beat and I'm just going to freestyle. It's some raw shit. I mean, again, that's hip hop. That's how this hip hop shit really started. But I think that as hip hop has evolved, when you look at the Nas's and the J's of the world, you kind of need a little bit more structure. You know what I mean? In terms of like, your lines have to kind of go somewhere. You know what I'm saying? And like your flow has to go somewhere. It can't just be like, b-boy the entire time. Like, you can put shades of that in there and then it's dope, but it also has to have other things. I don't know if I'm articulating myself correctly, but anyway, that's kind of my like sort of criticisms of Q, and I'm just doing that from a place of love, honestly, because I thought the dude was dope as fuck. Like, I was listening to some of those joints last night, and I was just like, yo, like, where is this guy? Like, I would love to hear more, new music from him, and hopefully he's gotten better production that really speaks to his talent, because he's repping the indigenous folk, and I got mad love for them. So, I will definitely want to hear more of what he has to say. And what he's saying is important. And that's what hip hop is about. Like, he's delivering important shit in a fun, accessible hip hop, dope way without compromising, the importance of the material. And that's everything. So, QRock. Now, Q is not exactly like a famous Canadian rapper by any means. I mean, this is a very underground type of cat, but definitely got a lot of respect. I mean, when I met him, I think he was hanging out with someone that I know mutually and stuff like that. And you'll see in one of his videos, like, I think Saukrates was, in the video and stuff like that. Saukrates is more known. Like, Saukrates is more, when you talk about Canadian hip hop, Toronto hip hop, you gotta talk about Saukrates. So I was actually going to do this video first and foremost about Saukrates, because, he's kind of like the glue, in my opinion. He's like the big, really talented sort of Canadian cat, I think, that you just have to mention when you talk about Canadian hip hop and its history. But QRock just happened to be, on my mind, so that's why I'm talking about QRock. But my point is, it's not like QRock, everybody was listening to QRock. Like, I had never even heard of QRock until like 4 years ago. So, but Saukrates I definitely heard of, you know what I mean? Anyway, so that's a little something. On a side note, man, this is just something that I kind of want to get off my chest, but, I love these Kvng Guap videos, so I'm always watching the Kvng Guap, reactions. And I even check out some of this promo stuff from, if it's like new artists and shit like that. And one of the things about the Kvng Guap shit, man, like, y'all niggas gotta stop. Well, I wouldn't say niggas, but you know what I'm saying, commenters, y'all gotta stop recommending these sleepy album cuts, man. This shit is depressing. Like, you know what I mean? Like, I see people, like, they'll recommend some song, and they'll just be like, why are you recommending this song? And they'll get a ton of likes. Now, I'm sure they're using bots and, whatever, because that's what it is with this YouTube shit. But I think people forget that Guap is looking for singles. If I'm reading this right, if you're introducing someone to a hip-hop artist, right, or, that kind of thing, why would you recommend a sleepy album cut that no one's heard, right? Like, you should know better, right? Like, you're a hip-hop fan, supposedly, right? The whole point of singles is that singles are meant to introduce your new project and you as an artist, right? So if I have a channel where I'm reacting to classic singles, because that's really what he was doing when he started. He was reacting to songs that usually had videos, because they were singles, and they were usually the powerful singles that people heard, and you would hear them at functions and shit like that. So my point is, why would you recommend some sleepy album cut that no one played. I mean, it's almost like you never went out. Because if you go to hip hop events, I mean, I'm going to hip hop events since, you know, I don't know, the early 2000s, you know what I mean? Like the late 90s, whatever. But the point is, when you go out, you're going to hear dope singles for the most part. I mean, yeah, someone might throw in an album cut that was really ill, and we know some of those album cuts like were ill. But in general, it's gonna be a single. So like, the point is, if you're commenting and being like, "Oh, listen to this like random like album cut," it's like, why? You know what I'm saying? That's how you get bad introductions, and then people start making excuses in the comment section, like, nah. You know what I'm saying? That's not what you do, man. Like, I was just talking about MF Doom, right? Like, if you're trying to introduce MF Doom to somebody, you start with accordion. Like, I mean, it's just common sense. You're not gonna mention Curls or Raid or some shit, like respectfully. You know what I'm saying? Not to say that those songs aren't good, but accordion is a more accessible song. I mean, that's why it was a single. Rhinestone Cowboy, right? Like, these are the joints that people know by MF Doom. And you should know, if you're really a hip hop fan and you're a fan of that artist, you know what songs translated to a bunch of people. I know that accordion was the joint. You know what I'm saying? I would hear that at certain functions. You know, Drake rapped on that shit in one of his early mixtapes. So I know that shit reached people, right? Figaro didn't. Like, not to say the Figaro's whack, but it's not on the level of accordion. So why would I be like, yo, go up, listen to Figaro? You're just asking for another weak reaction. And ain't nobody got time for that. So anyway, that's a total aside. So QRock. Dope artist. Next video I'm going to do on Toronto rappers is going to be from, about Saukrates, and I'll go into some depth with it. But go check out Ghost Dance. That's the joint that I heard, and I was actually there. Like, I was in the audience. I mean, they didn't show the audience, but I was there, and I was just like, when someone does some ill shit that you're just not expecting, and you just like, what the fuck? So it was a great experience, man. Anyway, peace.